Okay, now this takes a while. Who changed your on my thing to ask?
Oh, yeah.
It's supposed to have your first name and not just ask Daddy. You didn't go on my computer yet.
I'm fine. How are you?
And Convocation.
You talk about that? They're walking at you.
Oh, so you don't want me to
Yeah.
air it up. Okay. The name of the parent.
No,
I want to say Romero.
outside.
Those are my glasses, not yours.
Yeah.
I think I have it. Hold on, let me see.
We got them. You go up there and book it tomorrow. They'll call me once you do that.
Oh. No.
You got some come.
Hi, how are you? I need to change your folder though. I know that.
Oh, yeah, I said gum. Ah.
I don't know how that became It keeps changing. Edit. Why is it?
Oh.
Oh, you do have new invitation.
I need some new glass.
This is what?
The invitation she said she was
Oh.
I always ask that question. Nobody ever knows that I'm dating myself. I would invite Josh to my house to eat, but I ain't gonna do that like that. I eat hamburger now. I eat hamburger. I eat just butter.
You know, like on your phone, it says ask chat, but then when I go into settings, it clearly shows time your chat. The minute I take my cursor off, it goes back to ask chat. Thank you. I went into edit and that still just changed. Huh? Not right now. I'll find out later.
I need that too. That is what I need that.
Oh, Dr.
my
Nelson.
Do I ever need that? Really, guys? Do I ever need that? I do.
I'm just,
Hey, oh my God.
she's the science, right? And mine is math.
Okay.
You got right your name, address. You got your address here, so she can mail you.
Good evening, everyone. It is 7 p.m. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Okay, may I get a roll call vote? Here.
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 Present.
Here. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Yeah, I have a second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We will now go to announcements.
I have a request for the announcements today. I would like for us to, for the next agenda, next meeting, to add the paper tutor for discussion.
Okay. We don't need to take any type of vote on that, do we? We'll just note that it would go on the agenda. Thank you. On our next agenda item, Shay, do we have any patrons that would like to speak before the board? Thank you. Okay. We will now call for reports from the superintendent.
Good morning. Good morning. Good evening, everyone. I have quite a few announcements, and I will try to be brief. If we could just do a moment of silence for Miss LaRue Jones. She is the mother of a sophomore at Riverview High School. She's the young lady who was shot the other day when she was being carjacked. So if we could just do a moment of silence. Thank you. As you know, the board recently approved 2 additions to curriculum and instruction. One is Ms. Kimberly Mott. She is the math coordinator. She's made a presentation before the board already, but we never formally introduced her. I believe she's in the room if you want to wave at everyone. And then Tiffany Hunter, who is the science coordinator. I don't think she's here. I think she's at some professional development training. Just a couple of other announcements. The Riverview Gardens alumni are having a tailgate party on at Spanish Lake Park, July the 31st. I have been asked to come and talk about the district and some of the work that we're planning to do. If there's anyone who'd like to join me, once I get the time, I will let you know. Also, we received our notice from the state. I know it seems like it was just May when we made a presentation to the State Department. Well, we're going back on August the 16th to give an update. We found out yesterday and the PowerPoint is due on Friday. We will then also go back in October. We would normally, they say, be scheduled for November, but there is no meeting in November. And so we were going back in October and we'll be doing an update. And then we'll go back again in February and then in May, and then the cycle will continue. Also, just as a reminder, our convocation, that's when everybody comes back, is scheduled for August the 8th at the University of Missouri St. Louis at the Blanche True-Hill Center. Normally, the convocation is at the end of the week, but we thought that this year we kick off the year with convocation to try to get us started on an upbeat. That starts at 8 o'clock. Board members, you are more than welcome to attend. Also, the Back to School Bash is scheduled for August the 2nd. We are doing it on National Night Out in collaboration with the communities of Dellwood, Moline, and Bellefontaine neighbors. And it's going to be an amazing event held at the high school, and it will be from 6 to 8 p.m. And that concludes my announcement.
Thank you. Next on our agenda, item 6 is items for discussion.
And we will get through them very quickly. Our first item is the 2022.
I'm sorry.
Information, I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry, what did I say?
discussion.
Oh.
Our first item is the 2022-2024 collective bargaining agreement. This will make a correction. This item is in compliance with our policy HA, negotiations and employee representation. Making this presentation is Ms. Monica Williams, and there is no recommendation at the end.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt, Adams, colleagues, and community. Tonight, I have an informational item. In working on the collective bargaining agreement, there were a few items that did not transfer from the tentative agreement into the final document. And so the first one was 3.1 salary to put the 5% increase in there. Also, teachers that begin employment after 8/8, their pay will be prorated. And then for after-school meetings for Meet the Teacher Night, it should not exceed 2 hours, but in the document, it has 2.5 hours. And so those are the changes. Are there any questions?
Could you repeat those again, what you said it was
Yes.
salary?
The first one, we didn't have the 5% increase that was agreed upon, tentatively agreed upon at the time. And then also any employed teachers that are hired after the first workday, which is August 8th, their salaries will be prorated. And then the after-school meetings, the meet the teacher night should not exceed 2 hours, but in the document, it had 2.5 hours.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
The next item for information is Soulfishing Ministries partner presentation. As you know, we have several non-for-profits that work with us. Tonight, introducing the Soulfishing Ministries, we have Dr. Tanya Patton making the presentation. Tonight is Ms. Shantae Fisher. This is in compliance with CSIP Gold Collaborative Cultures. There is no legal reference, and this document has been reviewed by our legal counsel in the past. Dr. Patton.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Chantel Fisher. She's the CEO of Soulfishing Ministry. They serve very effectively 4 of our buildings, and Ms. Fisher will give an overview of their program and what they've done, not only over this school year, but over the few years that they've been with us. Welcome, Ms. Fisher.
Thank you, Dr. Patton. Good evening, Dr. Pruitt, Ms. Morrow Real, and everybody else on the Special Administrative Board. As she shared, I am Chantel Fisher. I'm the founder and CEO of the Soulfishing Ministries, and we've been honored with the privilege of being able to serve this district for 8 years now. So this coming school year will actually be our 9th school year. We started at Koch Elementary School serving just 20 kids and tutoring only math. And then in our 3rd year, we received 21st Century Community Learning funding through DESE. And so we've been able to expand what we do. So now in addition to math, we also provide tutoring and reading, ELA, and then we bring in a host of enrichment. So we partner with the Science Center or organization called Bricks for Kids that introduces them to the basics of robotics. Dream Builders for Equity, they host our chess club. Circus Harmony, they use.
I'm sorry, do you need a clicker?
That's one right here. I think
Oh,
she
you
said
have
they
one?
were
Oh,
going to click.
I just didn't know.
Yeah, and Circus Harmony uses the art of circus to teach social emotional skills. And then we partner with the schools of social work around St. Louis to facilitate our RISE leadership groups that we created the curriculum for. And it just gives youth the opportunity to discuss topics that they may not necessarily have access to, things like self-esteem, setting boundaries, healthy relationships, and things like that. So really proud of the work that we continue to do in the district and the impact that we're having in the lives of the students and parents that we serve. Okay, there we go. Will we take somebody? Oh, no, we don't want to play the video. It's too long. Yeah. Okay. So again, starting with the 2015-16 school year is when we really implemented in the district. So we started with just 4th and 5th graders at Koch Elementary School doing just math. We've also expanded now to include that 2nd year to include Westview Middle. So at that particular time, we started serving K through 8. We did such an amazing job with the 4th and 5th graders. At that time, it was Dr. Fields. He asked us if we could serve all the students K through 5, and we did. And Ms. Hill was here at that time. She invited us into Westview Middle. And so we served both schools that 2nd year. And then in 2017-18, that's when we received the first 21st Century funding grant, which was $1.5 million over 5 years. And we went in and we served 173 students, 88 at Koch, and what is that? 65 at Westview. So did really great work with those students. We began to expand, and then we had first robotics teams at that time. So we came in, we had Americal Vistas that came in and worked with the students, and they got to compete in first robotics competition across St. Louis. And their very first competition, they actually won the newbie, like the rookie award, because they, even when their robot wouldn't work well, they refused to give up. They were like, you want to like forfeit the tournament? They're like, no, they would just stay out there and continue to work on their bots. So it was really great to watch them through that school year. And then this is just some of the data that shows the students that either maintained or increased their grades, which shows that 83% in reading was that, I can't see that, 58%, and then 68% in science. And then 2018-19 school year, those are the numbers that show the students. So 86% in reading, 74% in math, and 75% in science maintained or increased their grades during the 2018-19 school year. In the 2019-2020 school year, we all know what happened during that school year. So we didn't really have the data. They didn't do MAP scores. We didn't really have the access to the report cards like we normally do. So what we do is we give them student surveys that assess their own self-efficacy. And so these are the scores, the way that they see themselves based on like whether or not they feel like they're good in reading, whether or not they believe they're good in math, and whether or not they believe they're good in science. And as you see, for the most part across the board, they scored themselves extremely high, which we thought was amazing, even in spite of being in the middle of a pandemic. And then this for the 2020-21 school year, just more information. And I just want to comment that all of the photos that you see in here is not clip art or stock photos. They're district students. So students that we serve every single day. Those are the faces that you're seeing throughout this presentation. And then this last school year was when we added Meadows and Moline, but we don't have the data yet because, you know, it's the end of the school year. That data will be available in October. So next year we'll be able to present that data, but we were able to serve, you know, about the same amount of students, even in spite of, you know, going back after being gone from 2 years of COVID. So just excited about being able to continue to expand the work that we do in the district. And we really look forward to continuing to serve the district even more in the years to come. And these are just some of the enrichments that we provide. So I shared Arise Leaderships, which is the SEL curriculum, our Black Squares Chess Club, Bricks for Kids, which is the robotic, Circus Harmony, Girls on the Run, Heart and Soul. And then these are our unique lesson plans. So we create lesson plans that align with the Missouri Learning Standards to just make sure that everything that we're doing across the board helps students learn according to the Missouri Learning Standards. And a few months back, we also, speaking on the Girls on the Run, we were able to be a part of their Girls on the Run Gala, where we received their Energy Award for just the work that we do in this district. And we raised, Jay, how much did they raise for the district? For thousands of dollars for Girls on the Run in this district, whether we serve the school or not. Girls on the Run has the funding, so all the other schools get on board, do Girls on the Run. If you need coaches, we can help you get coaches because the money is there. And then also, lastly, I like to just talk about like parent engagement. So these are just some of the events that we have for the parents, so tax preparation. We did a home ownership seminar, financial literacy. We took the whole, all the students and parents to a Cardinals game. We did COVID testing and vaccinations. And then our annual volunteer event is the Special Olympics. So that's the organization that we support, and we invite parents to come alongside not only us, but their students, and do a service learning project each year. And then, of course, we do our free backpack, shoes for the first students that enroll, and then Christmas gifts for the kids as well. and that's Miss Arissa. Everybody should know Arissa Ford Jones, and she is a scholar graduating this year and going on to UMSL, and we had the privilege of having her as one of our very first students in our program, and she has just excelled through that program. When she graduated from the program in 8th grade, she's been working on staff with us for 4 years now, and she's going on to UMSL, and we're very excited and honored to continue to support her through that process.
And I just want to say, I'm very hard to please, really, when it comes to serving our students. And this lady, we have had some interesting conversations because she is an advocate for her program and how it serves the children. I had the pleasure of meeting Miss Arissa Ford and if you don't know her, she can blow the roof off of this building and singing, by the way. So, but I was talking to Arissa on a meeting, and I asked her, and I didn't want Miss Chantel, I said, don't lead her. I want to hear what she says. And I said, what do you think about the program? And she could not say enough things. She said, I would not be who I am without the involvement of Soulfishers. She said, I would not have the confidence that I have to do public speaking. Ms. Chantel pushed her out forward and made her do it. And Arissa sang at the senior luncheon, and she just blew the roof off. So, and you can see she has over $100,000, well, more than that in scholarships. So the Soulfishers program is very effective, and we will work to grow the program in our district. Are there any questions?
Does the program just serve students with incarcerated parents exclusively?
Students that either have to be 2 to 3 grade, they either have to be performing to the 2 to 3 grade levels below expectations or have an incarcerated parent. But after they spend time in the program, they're no longer below expectations. So then they become like peer mentors and peer tutors in the program, which is how Arissa stayed involved because she excelled for, I think, 4.6 GPA now or something like
I
that.
just want to add that Ms. Fisher spoke about MAP results. They are so connected with the state that they get our MAP results
Yeah.
from the state.
Yeah.
It's not data we give them because the state also believes in the work that the program is doing. So I just want to thank you on behalf of our scholars for all the work that you've done. to
Thank
help
you.
us do
We love it.
And I just want to say that you're very modest because there are things that, in addition to helping our students, that you also do out in the community.
Yes, ma'am.
And I know that from working with you on a few things, but I'm just saying, one of the things that she did not mention is that she and her team were here distributing food for parents in need. So there's a whole lot more that she has not shared with us. But I just want you to know that you are godsend to our
Thank you.
district.
We love being a part of the district. We are a part of this district.
Does anyone else have?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next item is the Emergency Connectivity Fund Award, number 2. Making this presentation is Dr. Jocelyn Larry, the System Compliance with Technology Goal 1 to ensure availability of technology. It's in compliance with policy DD, and this item is for information. Dr. Larry?
Thank you, and good evening. The Technology Department is pleased to announce the second award from the Education Emergency Connectivity Fund. The first award was for $1.6 million, and it was used to purchase Chromebooks and hotspots for the district. This second award is for $807,798. It will also be used to purchase Chromebooks for the freshmen, incoming freshmen at the high school, hotspots, and additional Chromebooks for all the teachers. We want to make sure that teachers are able to help their students as they're learning. This is an informational item, and if you have any questions, I will entertain those.
Question. What items can be purchased with this other than Chromebooks?
Just Chromebooks and hotspots.
Okay, so my-
They are strictly doing anything that helps with internet connectivity, and it's
Okay.
basically for home. So when I get them here, I have to send them out to the students, send them home with the students.
Do students keep these Chromebooks? Are they permanently assigned to them, or are they district property?
The plan for the upcoming year will be the student will get the Chromebook and they will keep it. They will keep it for the entire time that they're in the district. Now, if they leave the district, they will have to be returned to the district. But that's what I proposed to the state, the government, and they agreed with not doing that.
Why would you collect them over the summer?
What we've been providing for the students during the summer is a curricular activity. So usually there's some work that they can do over the summer. Now, what we plan to do though, once we return, in fact, as Chromebooks have been returned, we have a new person who's checking each device, updating it, cleaning it, etc. So we will continue to do that.
I know that we have quite a transient population. How are we going to monitor for, what are we going to do about the loss of equipment as students move?
Now, what we've been able to do, once the student is no longer in the district, they maintain the computer, they don't turn in the computer, we can put it into a mode so they can't use it. That doesn't mean they still won't return it to us, but that's what we've been doing. I'd like to talk to the board at some point and to the superintendent about what we might be able to do in those cases. Some recommendations of things that we need to do. It can be talked to you.
Thank you. Don't go anywhere. We have the next item. The next item for information is technology MIS program evaluations. This is in compliance with CSIP Technology Goal 1 and Board Policy IM. Dr. Larry.
Before I start, if you don't mind, I'd like for the technology team to just come up and tell you their name and what they do. Their position, not necessarily go into detail, if you don't mind. Team. They're so important.
I'm Tom Randolph. I'm the network manager for the district.
I'm Matt Edler. I'm an MIS technician.
I'm Barry Shumpert. I'm the lead technology person in.
And I am Timmy Howard. I am a MIS technician as well.
Thank you. There are truly 9 individuals that make up our team. However, some of them had other commitments tonight, or they have families they had to go home with. But I wanted you to see what the team was composed of and the students that we have, the team members that we have here. We also have Jack Connolly, who's from the print shop, who works with us. And we have Don Dietrich and Greg Newell, who are consultants with us. Our responsibilities, and they are many, which include maintaining, repairing all the district technology, securing quotes for all technology purchases, as Dr. Singleton informed everyone today, to make sure that anytime there are technology purchases, they have to be approved by the technology department. Secure and utilize E-rate funding. Over the years, we have received from $300,000 to $3-point-something million. In fact, this year, with that last award, we're over $3 million. And I have to tell you, Dr. Singleton made sure, he said, now, are you sure you can include with this fiscal year? I said, yes, because the date on that award letter was June 30. So I could use it. There are a number of core data submissions that we have to do each year. So every so many months, there's an April one, October, June, etc. We make sure that those are completed in a timely manner and certified. We have to monitor all network activity. We use graphs to make sure that we are not exceeding our bandwidth levels or whatever. In fact, you'll be happy to know that as we've increased, we only use a tenth of what is available for us. So we're nowhere near running out of space. We maintain all the district systems, and there's a help desk system that if there are problems, staff members can put it. In fact, there's even stuff you can use if you're at home and have some issues. We published that and we keep talking about that, and we will continue to do so. We grant access to all the technology. We're the ones that help you get on your devices that you found. We help you get your email accounts, install all of that. That comes from our department. And we prepare, support, and maintain all the technology in the building. We are so proud of the number of smart boards that we put in this year, over 368. Now, there are some more, because we have to set up the ones that are in Central. I think she has about 8, and those have to be set up. And we received, as I said, $3.8 million in E-rate funding, and I am certainly proud of that. We complete a number of help desk tickets, receive the E-rate funding, and we always certify our core data submittals, and we keep record of those. So if anybody ever comes back and questions it, we keep a copy to make sure that there's record of things that we submitted on time. And we collaborate with all the schools, PD, federal program facilities. I don't know if you remember, but when we first received our initial large purchase of Chromebooks, it was like almost 3,000. They arrived on a Wednesday, and we were told that they had to be in the schools by Friday.
I remember.
You remember? And there's a process that goes into preparing these. You can't just put them out in the school. We had to enroll them. We had to tag them. We had to inventory them, and otherwise we wouldn't know where they were. I sat up in bed in the middle of the night wondering how I was going to get that done. And something said to me, involve schools and administrators. I put the call out. The next morning, I sent out an email to everybody. We need your help. Please help us. And they came. Schools were either sending the principals or they were sending their custodians or whatever. They were there. And I have certain visuals, and I don't want to leave anybody out, but there are certain visuals that remain in my head. Miss LaSandra Johnson jumping off that dock at Central. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget Dr. Patton carrying Chromebooks in her heels. And when I grow up, I want to be like her. The facilities department helped with distributing the devices, but it was truly a team effort. Everybody came. Dr. Nichols and her team came over, made several trips, delivering. And I remember Ms. Sharp saying, now, what am I supposed to do? But they were there. And that's the kind of teamwork that has helped this department. I have to tell you, there's no way we would have been able to register, set up, distribute over 10,000 Chromebooks without the input from everybody else. We support parents. We help with Google Suite and classroom meetings, any training that we can do. And we also work with Ms. Nelson. She's a parent liaison. So we work with her to make sure that any training needs it, they have to be done. Ongoing projects, as I said, submitting those core data, training the secretaries, working with them with online registration, maintaining the instructional systems that are in the schools, and implementing this year's Project Lead the Way. We're getting a lot of impetus because we received those grants. And so now we want to make sure that we get the implement. They already have it in the high school and the 2 middle schools. So we're going to extend it to the elementary schools. And as I said, those 950 Chromebooks that are coming, they have to be enrolled, they have to be tagged, et cetera, et cetera. All that has to be done. Next major project is updating the data center. We've done all these upgrades of the infrastructure, and now the important need is that data center. The servers are old, storage is old. We've already put an RFP out. And so we've talked to Dr. Singleton, and we do plan to do that this year. We will be receiving those Chromebooks and hotspots for freshmen, like I said, tagging, completing the inventory on those, and recycling non-functioning equipment. We'll talk about that later too. The core data submittals, preparing all the technologies, applying for all the E-rate funds, distributing all the technology. And as I told you, this year, each person who's required to work from home, if in the event something happens or whatever, will receive a new laptop. That's for every teacher, every staff member, everybody. And because of MSIP 6, we will be creating a separate data and cybersecurity. Opportunities for growth, continue to provide ongoing training for new technologies, working in collaboration with the Sharp PD department, providing ongoing assistance for new and existing technologies, continue expanding collaborative efforts with the schools and officers. I think that's a big opportunity, and we're going to be working with that. The data center that I mentioned, and repairing devices more swiftly. As fast as they come in, and we do have a problem with destruction of devices. And as fast as they come in, we're trying to get them out, but I've acquired some additional help to help us with that. It is a problem, and we know it. This was the form that normally used for evaluation, but I've already covered most of it. Just that who's responsible, and it's Jeff Larry, T. Turnip C, T. Randolph, and B. Shumpert. We're the leaders in the department, have 9 employees, no enrollment for that. Changes that are made from the following past evaluation. Infrastructure has been upgraded. That was the main thing I was brought here to do, take care of the infrastructure, and we've done that. And we increased the tech budget by the ESSA funds and those grants that we've received. Our goals are continually to improve infrastructure, maintain network reliability. We watch charts all the time to make sure that there are no issues. Create a separate data for cybersecurity plan, securing additional E-rate funding, or any funding that's available. Somebody even sent me some applicable grants for paging and intercom. So I'll be doing that. Make sure we have timely for data submissions and closing most tickets within a week. We evaluate the things that we do based on the receipt of funds. I love getting money. Closing help desk tickets, all those debt reports, and using charter and ENA reports. The success of the program is based on those funds that we receive and the interactive, the infrastructure upgrades that we've made, the number of devices that we've secured, and any reports that we have. Opportunity and next steps, again, continue infrastructure upgrades, purchasing additional Chromebooks or devices, receiving additional emergency connectivity funds, and again, continue to collaborate with the schools and all the departments, because that really is the key to our success. Right now, we're in the process of creating a RFP for the intercom paging system in the schools. That's one spot that we know is sorely needed, as Dr. Patton would tell us. Are there any questions?
I have one question, Madam President. Doctor, may I ask how long you've been an employee of Riverview Garden School District?
12 years.
Okay, this seems like an awful lot for you to have accomplished within a year. I'm sure this has been a journey, correct?
Yes, it has. But thank you. And again, I'll say, wasn't just me, that team.
And your team.
Yes. But thank you.
That's what I was gonna ask too, put Barry especially in precedent. Tom, right? I'm gonna get it right. On the spot. Can you all tell us how long you've been working with the district? Because I know your hobby. I just want you all to know that I appreciate all the hard work that you all do. I didn't know it was just 9 of you all. I think that's amazing, and I appreciate everybody else that pitched in to help me.
Thank you.
Dr. Larry left out a very important fact, that today is her birthday.
Oh, wow.
We won't ask you.
29 again.
Love it.
Thank you. Our next item is the first student transportation year in review. Making tonight's presentation is Lucas Torando and Shanika Butler for first student. This item is in compliance with board policy EE, student transportation services, and they are working in collaboration with Dr. Levon Singleton.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt-Adams, colleagues and community. Tonight we'll hear a presentation from first student. It's an annual presentation. But before Lucas comes, I would like to introduce the first student team. And so Amy, will you stand as well? Amy surprised us, but Amy Sides. She is the area general manager for first student. She's Lucas's boss, okay? We also have Lucas Torando. He is the senior location manager, oversees both Riverview Gardens and the Union Bus Depot. And then we also have Shanika Butler, whose sole job is to make sure that the Riverview Gardens location is functional and operational. So I wanted to introduce the team to you. And at this time, I will turn it over to Lucas for a very quick presentation, right?
Thank you. Good evening, board and Superintendent Pruitt-Adams. All right. Go through. Thank you. So as Dr. Singleton said, we just want to take a couple minutes and reintroduce ourselves to the district. These past few years have been challenging across schools in the country and especially in transportation. Next slide, please. So a quick recap of first student. I'll go through our year in review detail. Some quick facts on the EPA Clean School Bus Program, which I will be presenting to Dr. Singleton later this month, our community outreach, and looking forward. Next slide, please. So first, student, as we rebrand ourselves, again, the biggest focus for our team is our students. But when you read our mission statement, provide unmatched care and the safest ride to school. So when students arrive, they start their day with an exceptional experience and are ready to achieve their full potential. The values on the right, each of them are important. The ones that impact me the most: safety, surpassing customer expectations, and setting the highest standards. That is our goal as we approach the 22-23 school year. I want to thank everyone for their patience this past school year and during COVID as a whole. I know it was trying on every administration and operational team, so thank you. So year in review, daily home to school routes. The Riverview School District generally has 24. We were able to sustain all of those routes with minimal interruption. The SIT routes, we usually transport up to 5. With the previous labor shortages over the past years, the district and first student elected to not run SIT routes just due to the instability of the labor market. Driver labor rates. So over the past 2 years, we have increased starting pay from $17 an hour to $20 an hour without any financial impact to the district. We created sign-on bonuses for up to $3,500. That was $3,500 for drivers that came to us with experience and $2,500 for applicants that came to us without experience. We just recently upped our employee referral bonuses to $1,000 as well. For COVID, we're going to be status quo as of last year until the district says otherwise. For every school bus, and this is a monthly process, but we use a product called Zuno, and it's a preventative spray on every single school bus. It basically almost acts like Rain-X on a windshield. So anytime any type of cold, flu, etc., molecule impacts the seat, whatever, it can't survive. So we're going to continue this process. As far as that, we put other policies in play. So when COVID first started, we made sure that we were venting windows just as science evolved and everyone kind of discovered what the virus was. The district provided each school bus with masks for every student in case they didn't have any upon boarding. Our drivers were required to wear them at every school stop and school loading and unloading to prevent any further transmission. Next slide, please. So a quick snippet on this, and I won't spend a lot of time, but it is pretty exciting. So the federal government has allotted over $5 billion to the most neediest districts across the country. First Student has recognized Riverview Gardens District as one of those. It provides up to 25 school buses, which would cover Riverview's routes, standard routes of 24. But this would be for an all-electric fleet. It's a grant that the district would apply for, and then it's a lottery on how it's awarded. But the exciting piece about this is it's minimal cost to the district. The only potential cost is the infrastructure on how the buses would be charged at the local depot. Next slide, please. Next, community events and outreach. So we want to be involved across the city. We have some pieces up here from Black Wall Street and the Wellston Loop. During COVID, when that started, we provided courtesy shuttles. We partnered with Affinia Healthcare. We're involved in Sister Strut, Annie Malone. We took part in Pride St. Louis and Juneteenth and Black History Month at Bell Fountain Neighbors and downtown. The biggest, point we want to make there is, we're a school bus company, but we're also a community company. And anytime that there's opportunity for us to be involved in the community outside of our daily routine, please bring that to us. We love to take part and do extra things and help build this community up. Next slide, please. So looking in years ahead, we are fully aligned for all of the 24 home to school routes and 5 SIT routes with the fleet. And we do recommend a newer fleet, and that could be through a cascaded model after the 22-23 school year. The current fleet average age is roughly about 10 years. So pending how that grant goes, we did just want to bring up that point for conversation to help plan forward. Industry and labor costs. We also wanted to advise of increasing costs throughout the industry. As an example, and Riverview doesn't directly correlate to this because you guys have a bus depot that, we don't have to take that cost and the fuel. But aside from those pieces, average market rates for the next school year are above $400. You guys are well below that, almost half of that. So you wouldn't see that double increase, but might be a 40% increase on that. So again, we want to provide as much awareness as we can approaching the next RFP. Speaking of that, we were able to hold to the initial RFP matrix when this contract started. Next slide, please. First view. So as we focus on back to basics and operational pieces, we're going to push forward our first view program. So first view is a district dashboard and a parent portal app. And all our buses are GPS tracked. So it allows every parent to get a push notification on where that bus is. There's security pieces built in there, so the buses aren't trackable on exact location, but they'll give parents a heads up, the bus is X minutes away. All those pieces are built for security. We don't want anyone tracking our buses. Every student has a unique identifier code that the parent would register when they download the app. The other side of this is the district dashboard. So the district's able to see in live time where a bus is. And then you can also send mass messaging out. So if there's a weather delay, an accident, school has to dismiss early due to HVAC, whatever, you can send messages out and alerts every parent at that impacted campus or bus route. 3 minutes. Questions?
So have we applied for the EPA clean school bus funding?
We have not yet. So I have another presentation to present to Dr. Singleton. The district would have to be the one to apply for the grant. In the case that the district was awarded, the district would hand over that grant to first student. First student would make the purchase of those units, and then we'd go from there.
So those would be free buses to the district?
For the most part, yeah. So the only cost is the infrastructure potentially, and that's depending on how the charging stations could be set up at the bus depot, which is district owned. The district would.
So Lucas and I have started the conversation, and we're definitely going to put in the application. We feel strong that with our status that we'll be competitive, just as competitive as anyone else. But I would love to bring back to the SAB that this grant was awarded to the district, and we got 24 brand new buses, all that will be fuel efficient. They'll be on the new electrical system. And again, as Lucas shared, we just have to buy the infrastructure. So the machines to plug the buses into, the charging stations and those things. But I think it is well worth it. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed. And
that,
the charging stations are also covered. Okay. As long as we're able to pull electricity, it would be no cost to the district. So it just depends on the infrastructure of electricity to the location. So it's added bonus to this guy. Usually they just cover buses, but they're adding the charging.
Sure. So all you prayer warriors.
That's right.
So when we get together. So again, we will once we submit that information, we'll keep the board informed and aware. But again, I certainly would love to bring that good news back to the district that we've been awarded there. So and I appreciate First Student. Let me say that they have partnered with the district on a number of initiatives this year. Our end of the year celebration, they were there. Not only did they support us, but financially, They bear the cost of some of the vendors. Also, they are one of the first ones to step up for Convocation, for the back to school bash, and say that they will help us support back to school as well. So they have certainly held the cost. We put out an RFP 2 years ago, and they probably shot themselves in the foot with some of the lower rates. But they have let us know today that they're probably going to have some increases. So we will expect some increases, but they have shielded us from some significant increases in the past. So I appreciate it. Are there Thank you. All right.
I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer, but I'm just curious, you heard about other districts that had issues with buses and kids being left at bus stops. So I'm just curious about this year, what kind of issues that we have with the first student this previous year.
Sure.
So we were able to insulate the district from a lot of those issues to where, at other districts, unfortunately, that were impacted by labor shortages, some routes just didn't run.
Right.
Riverview was rarely, if ever, in that case. Sometimes we had to double up routes, but every route ran and every student got to school.
Wow.
And also, we had very minimal incidents like that. If we had issues, there were our students, may have been misbehaving on buses, and we had to attend to those. But in terms of drivers doing their jobs and being supportive, I think First Student set the standard high this year. So.
Yeah, one quick question is in the presentation you mentioned daily HTS routes and SIT routes. Just what are those? Just right.
So that we contract to provide HTS is home to school. So we pick you up from your home or at least a stop near your home and transportation to school. So that's the home to school routes. SIT routes are our students in transition. And we've spoken about those students. These are students who attend schools in the Riverview Garden School District, but for some reason, they're living on the outskirts of the districts or in other neighborhoods or other areas. And so we bus those students. It is our responsibility to go get them from where they are and bring them to school as well. So those are the students in transition. And so First Student works with us to make sure that both home to school for our students who live within a mile radius, and we're also expanding that as well into this year as well. We're looking into trying to bring some more students to qualify for bus services. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is a presentation from another one of our partner agencies, the Little Bit Foundation, coming forward to make this presentation. And joining Dr. Patton is John Pimmel, Erica Driver, William Hardwick, and Katie Altenberg. This is in compliance with CSIS collaborative cultures, and this has no budgetary impact because all that they offer is free. And before they speak, I just want to say I had the opportunity to speak at their most recent event, and just the things that you're going to hear today are amazing.
Well, Dr. Joylin, just hello again, SAB members, Dr. Joylin, and community and colleagues. Dr. Joylin just introduced them. I do want to say that Dr. Joylin, I should just sit down now. So, but Dr. Joylin she did present at their, it wasn't a fundraiser, it was just a gathering. And she was not on the following meeting, but they did go on and on, Dr. Joylin, about your effectiveness in your presentation and how that helped them a lot. So John Pimmel is not here, but everyone else Dr. Joylin mentioned is here. And this is another community partner that provides, I can't even tell you, everything from clothing to shoes to socks to jobs to family support to food, coats, everything that our scholars need, from all of our elementary buildings to every last secondary building, college fairs. So I'm going to let them tell their own story. So I'll introduce Miss Erica Driver.
Good evening, Board and Dr. Pruitt Adams. I'm Erica Driver. I'm the Vice President of Compliance and Data for Little Bit Foundation. And with me, I have Ms. Katie Albertine and Mr. William Hardrick. They have both been very intricate in our integration into and support of the Riverview Garden School District, which we've been in for the past 6 years. All right, just a start message from our CEO, who will not be able to be here today. Our CEO is actually your next door neighbor at Jennings. She's the board president at Jennings School District, but she has a heart and a passion for youth and the community. And she says, you are family, so never worry that she is not there. She will be there in heart and spirit. Just a little bit about the Little Bit Foundation. We are committed to breaking down barriers to education. And we do that providing wraparound services that support the whole child. Because barriers to learning aren't just in the classroom, they're before they get to the classroom. Do they have the correct shoes? Are they able to see the school board? Do they feel that there's food at home to get proper nutrition? Those are the things that we focus on to try and break down those barriers. And our core values are based off integrity. We do everything with integrity. Because when you're in need, the worst thing someone ever do to you is to make you feel horrible, belittled, or disrespected. So that's the first thing we do. Case in point, if a youth, we know our kids, we're a little hippier as African Americans. So when trying on the uniforms, we actually have a seamstress that does hemming for the students so that we can remove that stigma that comes when you're trying on clothes and it's like, this don't fit, this don't fit. That's one of the things. Compassion. We're non-judgmental in what we do and how we do it. We look at the children as if they're our own. We do it with dignity. We individualize services rather than being a mass exodus of services to everyone. And then with excellence, we work with the highest standards and expect the highest standards, not only of our staff, but of those who we partner with at the district. As you see here, our vision is that the child is the center of our services. We believe in an equitable educational community. We believe in neighborhoods working together. And we believe that we can replicate this model so that every student is ready for life after high school. Our main focus, we have 5 modules in which we operate under. Essentials, which is our boutique, which Dr. Patton alluded to, which is our Essentials Boutique. Students can come in there any day of the week. If they need underwear, bras, socks, pants, shoes, coat, hat, gloves, book bag, school supplies, hygiene, or a period kit, they can get that there. Food security, we offer in-school markets. We also have Sonny's Closet that students are able to take home a snack bag that has breakfast, a snack, and a fruit in there. Academic enrichment, books, STEM, EL tutoring. High school, we do mentoring, college readiness, career exploration, basic skills, which William will further speak about. And then we also have our health and wellness, which is our main program we focus on, which is Healthy Kids, Better Learners. So we bring people in that do actual physicals for the students in the school that's good for a whole year. So kids who say, I can't come to school because I don't have a physical, nah, we can take care of that. So they get a physical for the full year. We also offer sports physicals with that. So those students who want to participate in sports, this is free of charge. All right. Oh. All right. Okay, it's real sensitive. There we go. We have a commitment to Riverview Garden School District to promote our project graduation model, meaning we're doing continual support, meaning we're starting with early childhood at the Michelle Obama Early Childhood Center, and we are following and helping our youth all the way through high school. So it's not a one stop, we come get you and then we're gone next year. No, we are committed to the full development of the children. Try to go ahead. These are our program partners that we worked with last year. Some of them will be changing, but that's just the gist of who helps us contribute and support the Riverview Garden School District. All right, and now here's where Katie's going to come up to discuss some numbers with you.
Hi, good evening. So as we mentioned in our boutiques throughout the entire school year, we were able to disperse 112,001 essential items. Would that be anywhere from what we mentioned in our school, the shoes, uniforms, coats, underwear, socks, hygiene items, school supplies, backpacks. We were able to also distribute 1,870 books and buddies, which is a reading program aimed at our pre-K through our 2nd grade, which each kid will go home with a book and a stuffed animal to read at home. In our 1, 2, 3 book fairs, we were able to distribute over 18,000 books at 2 book fairs at each of our Riverview schools, which allowed, it's about 4 books that a kid will go home with, a brand new book that the kid gets to pick at a book fair. Then we also had our first Lego League at two of our schools, which were Gibson and Meadows, where 12 youth participated in that. And then at Michelle Obama, we did our My Sci-Do novel engineering, where 134 students participated in that. And then at 3 of our schools, we did STEAM Lingo with 50 students participating. We do have one in-school market, which acts as a full grocery store, and that is at Highland. And so we had about 300 families participate in that throughout the year, serving almost 1,000 students. About 936 students were able to participate with that. And then we mentioned Sunny's Closet, which is an emergency food bag through Operation Food Search, and that was about 5,000 bags. And I will let William.
Good evening. So we for St. Louis Period Alliance, we were able to deliver 1,830 period kits. That's female sanitation items. So we have those to the schools. Healthy Kids, Better Learners provided 67 wellness exams, 40 healthy education sessions, SOAR mentoring program, engaged 47 youth, and we have 21 different mentors. So what's next fair was a college and career exploration fair had over 56 career and college vendors for over 500 students at the high school. Application day is essentially a hiring interviewing fair. At 16 vendors, 84 students participated. Next step, 9th grade, which is 380 students at 2 sites. That's at Westview and Westview and Central, which was essentially a panel discussion in the middle school and the high school about best practices, how to be successful in high school and get to the next step. And okay, overall expenses for this year is $1,348,899. Erica Driver. I'll let Erica wrap it up. Thank you for your time.
That 1.3 is not indicative of staff salaries. That's including all the costs of those items itself alone to the district. All right, we're gonna actually skip. That is a chart. You guys all have this, but I did break down every last one of those programs with delimited information for you because it is a lot. Again, keep going. Yeah, I'm not gonna bore y'all like that. I'm not mean. I wouldn't do that. This is really mean, but really great thing. Our career pathways, we are working with the district to work on the construction career program. It is not taking flight this year, but we have not given up on that goal. We will continue to work on career exploration and development for the next school year. Areas of growth. This is where we want you to know what's going on. So we are increasing our staff to meet the program needs. That's one. Right now, little you know, we're operating on 3 program coordinators implementing this. Yes, 3 program coordinators, including other staff. So every book fair, we all doubled up delivery of food, Feeding Hope, in which we feed 71 families within the district with food boxes or produce boxes. That's the 3 that make sure that's coordinated with our 3 warehouse team. So when I say we are skin and bones, but we're still making it happen, we are. Then we have our food security. That one we are expanding into Coke in the 22-23 school year. So they will have access to the market that is at Highland at this point. Again, like I said, it is a surefire shop. So you're shopping for milk, eggs, everything that you need to take home at your own pace whenever you need it at that market. Any family within the district has access to that. We are increasing our STEM. So we are doing STEM lingo. We are trying to actually double our number. Last year we did 50 students. STEM lingo is where students learn basic coding and skills. So they use a Tesla backup camera, learn to plug into the board and do all of that, as well as driving and develop to make their own music using STEM coding. That is going to continue on next school year as well. And then project graduation, we are trying to implement additional services to support project graduation, just like the virtual seminar sessions on the main skills, those soft skills. Our skills can get you the job. The soft skills are what are going to keep you employed. So we're working on that. Any questions?
How many schools? Is Riverview the only school district that you serve?
No, ma'am. We are in St. Louis Public School. We have 18 schools there. We are also serving 9 other charter schools, Hancock Place, as well as Jennings and Normandy. This previous year, we served 42 schools. Next year, we're going to 48.
So the 3 coordinators.
I have letters out, God willing, they accept for positions for 4 additional educators, as well as someone to help William as well.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
No comments, but no questions, but, when Give Day come around, I hope that everyone that's seated here remembers that for, both, Soulfisher and for Little Bit, when Give Day comes around, where, not-for-profits are seeking contributions and donations.
I just want to say, there's a lot of things that impede student learning. And when you look at the food, the clothes, and those barriers that are removed and the other doors of opportunity, and you channel that with what Soulfisher gives, these two organizations mean so much. And specifically when you start at early childhood and you move them all the way through high school. What I said the night of the event was just the number of lives that have been changed just because of the involvement in this program.
Well, Dr. Jolin said once again what I was going to say. So, Ms. Lane, yes, they only serve Riverview Gardens. Yes. So thank you, Dr. Jolin.
I was channeling Dr. Pat. Thank you. Our next item, now we're into discussion. So we have concluded all our information items. Our next item is surplus technology equipment. She needs no introduction, Dr. Larry. And this is in compliance with board policy DNC, surplus school property. Dr. Larry.
Thank you, and good evening again. As we've been in buildings, we've seen and noticed a number of items that need to be removed. Yeah, surplus, they don't work or whatever. And you know, each year I've been required to bring this to the district. Normally I would do it at the end of the school year or just before school starts. However, we have some new principals and some principals who are saying in order to prepare for the beginning of school, they need to get this old stuff out. Therefore, I am here presenting to you the list of some of the things that we found that we'd like to remove as salvage, surplus, etc. Now, and Ms. Morrill would like this. The companies that I locate now will give us something for it. It's not a lot, but we do get something that goes back into our budget. Well, the GOB, I don't get it. But it does go back to the district. Now, you will notice that some of the devices, we have some Chromebooks in there, but what we are going to do, we're taking them out of the school, but what we're going to try to do is salvage some of the parts. Therefore, we may be able to take the screen from one and use the keyboard from another. So we're going to put some pieces together and use them as we can. But officially, I have to let you know that right now we're saying it can't be used and that we'd like to dispose of it. But we're going to try to salvage what we can. Are there any questions? Oh, and before I say that, we will return beginning of school on the remaining schools. This is just a handful of the schools, but Ms. Fife has been calling regularly. Please, I want to get my school ready, and I want to do what I can to help them. Any questions?
And this item is for approval tonight.
Yes, please.
Thank you. The next item is the Renaissance Freckle Science Social Studies. Making this presentation is Dr. Phil Kennedy. This is in compliance with CSIP's Goal 1, student performance, and in compliance with policy IIA, instructional materials. At the conclusion, it is recommended that the SAB approve the Renaissance Freckle Social Studies not to exceed $55,205. Dr. Kennedy.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt Adams, colleagues and community. Tonight, I have come to you to present a Renaissance Freckle for social studies in science. Currently, we already use Freckle for ELA, English Language Arts, and math. And so once the principals learned that they had a component for science and social studies, they asked me if we could go ahead and look at moving forward with that as well to supplement the district curriculum. So this would be an additional resource that would be added to our curriculum. And basically the way that it works, because Freckle is an intervention system. And so once the students take the STAR benchmark in the fall, winter, and the spring, it generates, here are the standards that our students are performing well on, and here are the standards that they need more assistance on. And so the teachers can go in there and they can assign extra practice to the students. They can either sign it by a whole group for the class, by smaller groups, or by individual students. And the students can get more practice outside of the inside of the classroom during small group instruction, but also outside they can use it at home as well. So the justification for this, and if you look at it on the board docs, I pulled up some of the percentages of students who are scoring at proficient and advanced in both science and social studies, and those numbers are nowhere where we want them to be. And they're actually, there's a lot of room for improvement. And in science, we only take the map in grades 5 and 8. Those are called grade span tests. So if I'm a 5th grader and I'm taking the science map, I can get asked questions over standards from 3rd grade, from 4th grade, and from 5th grade. And so when I take it as an 8th grader, then I can get asked standard questions over standards from 6th, 7th, and 8th. So that's the way that DESE does that. And then at the high school with the end of course exams, the EOCs, we are required to do government for social studies and also biology. And again, we need to have a higher percentage of our students that are scoring advanced and proficient. What I did this year for the freckle and to ensure that it's being monitored and it's being used is at the end of every month, I did a usage report. And I share that with the DLT team and with the C&I team. And we take a look at that. And then we can have conversations with the people in the buildings that aren't using it, because it's proven to be effective. These schools, the top 5 schools that used ELA and math the most this year had the highest percentage of student growth. And so it is proven to be an effective program and an effective intervention tool. So it's my recommendation that the SAB approve a freckle for science and social studies at no less than $55,205, and it would be through the ESSER funds. Are there any questions?
I do have questions, because what you just spoke of, the data that you just spoke of, that is what I had been asking for. I wanted to see what was the usage of the platform, not just for testing, but when students are logging on. I heard you throughout your presentation several times, you said students can or teachers can. I would like to see this be mandatory, that so many times a week, even if it's just twice a week, you have to complete a freckle assignment. I have to complete a standard. Every student, every class, every teacher, every building. Because if we're not using these platforms, then they're not going to be good. And we don't have the leisure to allow it to be a choice, or we might do that. No, because most of the time, these programs provide automatic feedback. You know if you got it right, you know if you got, then you automatically see where the student needs to work and what they need to do. And so I can't grade papers that fast, but the computer can, and that helps to guide instruction. We always talk about data-based instruction and data-driven instruction. Well, this should help guide instruction, and it should be a target that we use to see what our students need. We don't want just growth in this school and that school and those students over there, but we want growth throughout the whole district. What I'm saying is write it into the curriculum that it's a must, that we have to use these platforms.
Well, and that is the district expectation, is that if you're in grades K to 2, you should be spending 20 minutes a day on freckle. And in grades 3 through 12, you should be spending 15 minutes a day. And we worked with the principals to determine what does that look like. And most of the time when they go to their small group instruction is when they have a station of freckle. And that's where we start to see the usage. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. There are some schools that have taken advantage and taken and run and done a great job with that. But then that's also not my responsibility to ensure that's being done. All I do is compile the numbers and give them to the person who that's their responsibility.
Well, then, can I suggest that you work with Dr. Nichols and Ms. Russell, whoever else needs to do that, so that we're engaged throughout the district, and let's take the choice element out of it. Let's really use it.
Well, if it's go ahead.
Okay, so one of the things that we've said to our principals as we move forward is that as a district, we have to move forward with some consistency and accountability. And that means that the things that the district has put out there that we know are research-based, and are proven to yield success, those options are going away to do various different things. But all of us on the same page, moving in the same direction.
But again, it'll be communicated monthly, who's using it and how often they're using it. Are there any other questions?
Superintendent, so when does that start where the option goes away?
Well, there's always been the expectation, but school opens on August the 22nd. We've said this to the principals. I've said it multiple times, and as we move forward, particularly with us going also through turnaround, we have to be moving in the same direction. That's why we asked that the board approve the district partnering with Solution Tree for the remainder of the schools. So we're on the same direction. And so the expectation, principals will have a retreat August 1st and 3rd. We'll say it again. And then when we do the week of convocation, we'll start professional development with all of our staff. We'll say it again. It's something that will be happening and we'll be monitoring just the work period, not just Freckle. So let me say that.
Right.
We will be monitoring instruction and accountability on a daily basis in more ways than before, because we have to. We have no recourse as it relates to the district regaining its accreditation. One of the reasons the state is investing the money for turnaround is to ensure that there is increased academic performance in ELA and math. That's why we're investing, to ensure that there are gains. That's a must in order for this district to regain accreditation.
And I would add too, that even though the focus of the turnaround schools is ELA and math, but by purchasing these 2 new modules for science and social studies, that involves a lot of the practicing with the reading of informational text. And if you analyze our ELA map data, it'll tell you that our students are not as strong in informational text. So this will also help reinforce that as well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. The next item is retirees as permanent substitute teachers. This is in compliance with legal reference Senate Bill 681, Board Policy GCD1, professional staff recruiting and hiring, and Board Policy GCDC, professional staff fringe benefits. At the conclusion, it is recommended that the board approve the hiring, and this too will be asked for approval tonight. Making this presentation is Ms. Monica Williams.
Good evening again. This item for discussion, on May 12th, the Missouri Legislature passed Senate Bill 681, which takes off the work limits for retirees. And so with that being the case, that it will not affect their pension. And with that being the case, we are asking the SAB to approve the district to recruit our retirees to come back and work for the district. We have done a few informal surveys, and so that is how we came up with the number that about 15 might want to come back, and that's where we come up with the budget impact. And what we would offer is 75% of the salary that they left the district at, plus benefits. So they will be able to come back, get salary and benefits, 75% of the salary where they left. Are there any questions? Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry. Where it says budgeted impact, dollar amount, 15 retired teachers at $75,000.
Yes.
So that's how much they will be making?
So with the approximate benefits, salary and benefits is approximately $75,000.
So that's gonna vary.
Right, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
got you. Thank you.
Are they coming out of retirement to
So,
do this, or are they still collecting pension?
so they will be able to still collect their pension as a part of this Senate Bill 681. Yes, ma'am.
So is this like, I know somebody in another district said that if a teacher works 10 days a month, they can get health benefits. This is kind of like that.
This is if I might, this is a little bit different. This is similar to the waiver that was out before, where normally retirees can only work 150 hours. I mean, 550 hours, which is 65 47 days. And so because of the teacher shortage, and I mean, everybody's robbing teacher to pay Paul teacher kind of thing. And so this allows them to come back and work, still get their pension, but address the shortage that schools have regarding getting teachers. We checked because when we reached out to our teachers, they need benefits. We checked with the state and they said benefits can be included. And so we thought maybe to get them to come back and have a certified teacher in front of our students, because right now we're about 107 teachers down. If we could get these 15, that's 15 certified teachers in front of our scholars where there might be a sub or and not a continual sub. But this is part of that waiver. The governor is due to sign it Friday, I believe. It's Friday. And so we wanted to get ahead of it because our next board meeting is not until August the 9th. And so if we could get ahead of that, once he signs it, then we have an opportunity to reach out to those who have said they are interested. And this is for approval tonight. The next item is the Frontline ASOP upgrade. Ms. 2 is being presented by Ms. Williams. This is in compliance with GBCB, staff absences and tardiness, GDBDA, support staff leave, and policy GCBDA, professional staff short-term leave. And this is recommended that we upgrade our Frontline system, and Ms. Monica Williams is presenting it.
Okay. So Frontline is our absence management system, and that is where absences are recorded. So employees can call in if they're going to be sick and record an absence. Absences are also inputted daily into ASOP from our substitute teacher liaison. So she uses a 5-part form. So if anyone wants to request a personal leave or bereavement or vacation or some other type of leave, they have to fill out a 5-part form, get their signature, supervisor's signature, it comes to HR and it's manually keyed into the system. So the Frontline system is also our sub-caller system. So when absences are recorded for positions that require substitute, it will call out to schedule the substitutes. So right now, the issue that we're having is our ASOP system, which is our absence management system, is a standalone system, and our HR system is a standalone system. So they don't talk. They're not integrated. So every day, our substitute teacher liaison, she runs a report of the absences and she keys them into the HR and payroll system. And also those forms, those carbon 5-part forms, they come in and she keys all of those into the system. So yes, so ASOP is designed for employees to be able to record any type of absence in the system, and also for supervisors to have what we call an approval workflow. So it's just a matter of them logging in and reviewing the absences and approving or denying the absences, and that 5-part form goes away. And then the other piece of this is that ASOP can then be integrated with our human resources system, whether it's Keystone or Munis, which will again eliminate that daily data entry that takes place in our office, and it will create efficiency if we're able to do this and cut down on human error. So you don't have a duplication of work that we currently have. So with the ASOP Frontline company, they have offered their services to us, and we just have to have our substitute teacher liaison facilitate the process, but they will do all of the work of upgrading our system, making sure all of our employees are assigned to the right location and departments. And now supervisors can go on and see who reports to them. And so there are a number of advantages to upgrading this system for our district. Are there any questions?
The next item is the volunteer agreement, extracurricular, co-curricular activities. This is in compliance with policy GDBA, support staff compensation, and policy IGD, district-sponsored extracurricular activities. And this agreement has been reviewed by our legal counsel, Making this presentation is Ms. Williams.
Okay, so what we have with this item are our extracurricular activities. And the district values extracurricular activities because we know that students need more than just classroom assignments every day. They need to be able to participate in art club and band club and so forth and so on. But the issue in the district has been that over the years, we have not had enough teachers who are interested in working those after school clubs and activities. And with that being the case, we would like to offer some of these extracurricular activities to be sponsored by our support staff. So currently with support staff, due to the Fair Labor Standards Act, if they work beyond their 40-hour week, then we have to pay them overtime. So this can be very expensive. So the district made a decision years ago not to allow support staff to work these extracurricular activities. So what we've done is contacted our legal team at Tuileries, and they have developed a volunteer agreement. And so what that agreement would do is it would allow the non-certified or support staff employee to sign the agreement as a volunteer for a nominal fee. Now, the fee would be the same stipend amount that a certified employee would make, but they're signing a different type of agreement. It's called a volunteer agreement. And our hope with that is that we will be able to fill these vacancies that we've had year after year in our clubs, and our scholars have not had the opportunity to participate in a lot of after-school activities.
Do we know the name of the activities that you're talking about, or is it pretty?
We
is
do.
it open?
We have so many clubs, I can't even name them all.
Okay.
But in the month of August, the Curriculum and Instruction Department will present to you the extracurricular book. It's like a brochure, and it lists all the clubs and all the stipend amounts for the board to approve.
Okay.
And so you'll see all the clubs listed there. Thank
All right. Does that include coaching?
you. Yes. Who's coaching it?
So this is my question. Would this be different from me volunteering?
So this agreement is different. Now, the requirements are the same. They still have to pass a background check and all of that. That will be the same. But what's different with this agreement is that we're paying them a nominal fee to sponsor the activity.
But I'm saying, so you know that I volunteered in the past. So, no, I don't want to be paid. That's what I'm saying.
I was gonna say you can't be paid, but you can
Right, but
volunteer.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yes.
So there's a separate volunteer. Okay.
Form and process. Yes.
Right.
The process is similar in that we conduct the same background checks, but the volunteer form is different.
And how long is the volunteer form good for? Is it just good for that year?
So we right now we have our volunteers sign up annually to volunteer. Yes.
Thank
One more question. So potentially,
Yes.
you could have a custodian coaching football.
You could.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir. We would have to make sure we meet the MISHA guidelines, but yes, you could.
Good.
Thank you.
I'm happy to hear that because there was a club that a staff member really was active in, and it was a phenomenal club, and it helped students that weren't necessarily A students. And when that person couldn't do it anymore, that really made me sad. So I'm happy to say that you all have this. I like that.
The next item is the Riverview Gardens Annual Convocation. Making this presentation is Dr. Tanya Patton. I won't say anything else. I know she's working on it.
Dr. Jorlin, too late. You already spoke on it earlier. So as Dr. Jorlin mentioned, I am presenting the approval for the convocation. Actually, it is the agreement with UMSL to utilize the Blanche Hill Performing Arts Center for our convocation, as well as some professional development that will take place right after convocation. Is it budgeted? Yes. The budget amount will not exceed $75.77. And it is recommended that the SAB, it's recommended that the board approve the agreement to utilize UMSL for this year's convocation. This is the first year we've done it since I've been here, and so the planning has been interesting, but we are planning to have a very successful event. So are there any questions?
When you say the first year you've done it, the first year you had a
The first year I
convocation?
planned it because this is on, I finished my second year, and because of COVID, we haven't held convocation in the 2 years.
But we used to do it before.
Yes, ma'am. Mhm.
Okay. Budget source, superintendent account. What is that?
That comes out of my budget.
You have a separate budget?
Each budget manager has a separate budget with different line items, and this one comes out of mine.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, thank you. You all are all invited if you want to join us.
The next item then is the memorandum of understanding for service provided to students. Also making this presentation is Dr. Tanya Patton, and this is in compliance with CSIP's collaborative culture.
So in the fall of 2008, St. Louis County voters approved a quarter tax increase. And because of that, and that increase is called the Children's Service Fund. We were able to fund the Children's Service Fund. This fund makes mental health counseling, evaluation, case management, mentoring, substance abuse possible within our schools. This is free of charge to us. We are not charged for it because we use organizations that access this Children's Service Fund. Tonight, I'm presenting the Family Workforce. They have a Ready for Life program which supports our students with financial literacy, building healthy relationships, interviewing skills. They provide internships for our students. Gateway Oral Health will assist our students, of course, with dental care during the school day and even follow-up appointments if necessary. Lutheran Family, Youth in Need, and Nominee, they all serve our students from a therapeutic, social, emotional, mental health support. And then Safe Connection, they support our LGBTQIA+ students within their school environment. This is being brought to you for discussion. Are there any questions?
Okay, the next item then is the ACE Learning Center agreement. This, I'm gonna say this is a two-part presentation because we'll be coming back again August the 9th. I do want to preface this by saying we had hoped to come with a proposal to bring ACE on site now. You will hear some of that today about when we hope to bring ACE on site. Making this presentation, joining Dr. Patton, is Dr. Jared Smith and Jennifer Williams.
So hello again, everyone. As Dr. Joylin said, this is the ACE Learning Center MOU that I am presenting. They will tell you much more about the ACE centers and what they do for our students. As Dr. Joylin mentioned also, we were hoping to bring it on campus, but we are unable to do that in the first part of the 22-23 school year. So our goal will be to bring this program on our campus in January of 2023. The two, Dr. Smith and Ms. Williams, will tell you more about the ACE Learning Centers, and then I will come back afterwards. Thank you.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Pruitt-Adams. Colleagues and community, once again, standing with me is Ms. Jennifer Williams. She's the Regional Director for ACE Learning Centers. For the past several years, Riverview Garden School District has partnered with ACE Learning Centers to provide education, alternative education services for the students in Riverview Garden School District. The programming that ACE provides includes credit recovery, the night school program, summer school program for 9 through 12 students, as well as offering 3 options to receive a high school diploma: the traditional Riverview diploma, the ACE diploma, which is a diploma, and a program called Missouri Options, which was a program started by DESE and partnering with school districts that allows students who are 17 years of age and at least 1 year behind their freshman cohort to take a few classes
study for and pass the high set test, which used to be called the GED test, but instead of getting a GED, they get an actual Riverview Garden School District diploma. So those are the three options that we offer. We also provide the opportunity for students who have been separated from their home school due to long-term suspensions to continue their education through graduation. Historically, the partnership has been very successful, with ACE helping Riverview Gardens increase its graduation rate and attendance rate, as well as supporting high school and middle school students who were not either not successful in their traditional homeschool, or through other various circumstances, the traditional 6-hour school day just didn't work for them and their family, and that was due to working, some families, babysitting issues, some of our young ladies who were pregnant and were put on bed rest, and so they just couldn't do the 6-hour day. They were able to utilize their program as well. The program has also been instrumental in helping the district to capture those 5th year and 6th year cohort students, which also helps us with those APR points for accreditation. So we are recommending that the board approve the agreement between ACE and Riverview Garden School District for the 2022-2023 school year in the amount not to exceed $1,237,500, which includes 225 middle school and high school slots at ACE, as well as 200 slots for summer school and 35 slots per semester for night school at no additional cost. Like Dr. Pruitt-Adams said, our plan was to because right now ACE operates 3 sites within the Riverview Garden School District footprint. One site is on Chambers and Bell Fountain in the church right on the corner. One site is on Lewis and Clark in that little strip mall next to the Domino's, and one site is on West Florissant. And our goal is to bring all of those sites within Riverview Garden District property for a number of reasons. One being, as we move more towards restorative practices, that'll really help us to really be able to implement that with efficacy, as well as we become more trauma informed. We want to make sure we're providing all of those services to all of our students in the alternative program. And as well as just more oversight, district oversight with the, as far as the academic piece is concerned. So that's it. Questions?
Madam Chair. When we talk about bringing it back to Riverview property, what does that mean?
So
what location are we thinking about?
So our goal is to utilize the FCRC, the building next to Danforth Elementary, for the alternative program.
Okay.
And there's some work that needs to be done on the building to make it ready. We don't want to put students in a half-done building. So there's some work that needs to be done that will work with facilities and Dr. Singleton. Hope you're not wringing his hands too much to make sure that the building gets ready by second semester.
My question is the legal age for students to graduate high school or to extend high school. I still believe it's 21.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the legal age that you all allow students to do that?
It's the same, it's 21, or it's based on whatever the school district would like them to serve.
The other question that I had is, did I hear you say that there's no option program? My concern is that all of our students, whether they're in ACE or whether they are in our high school setting, receive a diploma.
Yes, ma'am.
This is the majority option, no option.
Right. But I just want to stress, our students should receive diploma,
Yes, ma'am.
and they should be allowed, if the program allows to 21, to stay in the program to 21. I think you know what I'm talking
Oh, yes, ma'am.
about. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. And we are just talking to a colleague, Ms. Shumpert, today about a young lady who she's 20. She would be a 6th-year senior, and we talked today about she's coming back, and she's going to come back. She has about 11 classes to finish, and she's going to come back until she finishes those classes. You know, my goal, our goal, is to make sure everybody who walks through our doors has every opportunity to leave with a diploma. Yes, ma'am.
I do want to also, I'm sorry, say that Dr. Patton and I met with Jennifer, Dr. Smith, and other members of Taste Light, and was very direct with the concerns that we've heard from members of our Board of Education and what the expectations are as it relates to getting back to small group tutoring and so forth, with our students having a personal contact with an instructor. They understand some of the concerns that have been shared with us. We were very open with that.
And that's another benefit of, because just like everywhere else, ACE has also experienced a teacher shortage. And so if we can bring everybody in the building together, instead of having 3 separate sites, a teacher may not be able to drive to go somewhere else to help with another site. But if everybody's in the same building, then, you know, we'll be able to manipulate that staffing to make sure that those small groups and those TLIs or teacher-led instruction pieces are happening.
And my last question is, will you repeat the amount that you said again, that it's going to cost?
$1,237,500.
And that's based on if these slots get filled, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What if they don't?
I will say that all the slots get filled. We don't. Matter of fact, so we have 225 slots, but on average throughout the year, we'll service about 350 students.
And if I ask for that data, you can provide it.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
We've also had that discussion as well about the fact that how do we predict that we are going to have 225 students who need additional alternative ed support. And we believe, as Dr. Smith said, that with the restorative programs putting in place, we should be over time reducing the number of students who go. But I do want to say this price also includes the facilities cost.
Right.
Okay.
That it was
Right.
not just student numbers, it's the cost of facilities.
That's a key number to mention.
Right.
Next year, if we're all on one site, then we would go down. And then that half the year we are in a site. Okay, so next year it should go down to all on one site. Thanks. Thanks.
I also wanted to say, I heard you say receive a diploma. Well, be honest and tell you, I was sorely disappointed to find that only 4 students received the Riverview Gardens diploma, because that is the diploma that is follows the state recommendation of 24 credit hours. That is the Missouri requirement for graduation from high school. That is what I would like to see all of our students receive. I'm not satisfied with students receiving 18 hours. And if they can stay for 18 hours, then they can stay and complete the program. And I think that our expectations ought to be a Missouri diploma that meets all of those requirements. And if you're gonna pay $1,237,000, hey, listen, then credit recovery, whatever needs to be done. If you have a student, like you say, your 20-year-old that's returning, credit recovery, that means that she has to complete every module. And if that means the teacher needs to call home and say, hey, mom, she's got 4 modules, she's got to complete. I need those done by Tuesday. And if you have to do that, then because that's what we do in other places, then let's do that, because not receiving a high school diploma is unacceptable. Not receiving a high school diploma, which requires 24 credit hours, or either the Missouri option. Anything less than that is unacceptable.
So I don't know if that's a discussion that you want to have tonight, but Ms. Williams can better explain the accreditation piece. And because the 18 credit hour diploma is an accredited diploma.
But I also know that students have been encouraged and told, oh, you're 18, you can sign yourself out. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable. 24 hours to get 24 credit hours or 24 units to graduate from high school. If that is the standard that the state of Missouri has set, then that is the standard that we should strive to meet.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And they will be back August the 9th
Yes.
with another presentation.
With a comprehensive, detailed presentation.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
The next item is the 2022 Glean Education Proposal for Mandatory Dyslexia PD. Making this presentation is Ms. Barbara Sharp, a member of the Curriculum and Instruction Department. This is in compliance with CSIP's Effective Instruction Goal 2. The legal reference, we've used this program for the last 2 years for policy-based instruction and IGAB instructional interventions. Ms. Sharp.
Yes, good evening. To the Special Administrative Board, Superintendent Pruitt Adams, colleagues, and community. Tonight, I'm presenting to you for discussion the request for the 2022 Dyslexia PD. This is a mandatory professional development opportunity that is designated to all Missouri schools in the state of Missouri. I provided you a bit of background information indicating that Senate Bill 2379, House Bill 2379 and Senate Bill 638 requires this mandate for school districts. So we have used a Glean education for the last 3 years. The first year, the state of Missouri paid for Glean to come into all school districts. So we have utilized them last year, and the request is to utilize them for this current year. We have focused on a variety of different learning opportunities for our staff. Many of them include online information, well as some online training. There's some small reading, some vignettes that teachers are required to work through. With this presentation for this year, there's 2 parts. That is reviewing the introduction and giving some background information on dyslexia. And it is also giving more detailed information for MTSS as well as RTI. So the MTS is the multi-tiered support system, and RTI is the response to interventions. So I have a scope, project scope and objectives listed here, which is outlined for you. And so at this point, the request is for this PD for discussion on tonight. We have identified a window that this PD will occur. So as new staff are hired, that gives us some additional opportunities so that they are able to engage in this PD, and we will be able to fulfill the requirements from the state of Missouri. The request is an amount not to exceed $18,825, and it will be taken from the 2022-2023 school year budget. I'll take any questions you have at this time.
Yeah, my question, I read what you wrote. If a student is discovered to have dyslexia, then what's the next step?
So this request is primarily for the professional development so that we keep teachers informed about different characteristics of dyslexia. So we don't specifically identify, we're not medical doctors, so we can't identify specifically if a student has dyslexia, but we understand that it is it is an issue with reading, and it is associated with the brain and how students learn. So we look at providing strategies and supports to teachers so that they're able to continue to teach our scholars. I would imagine if there are some continued concerns, then there would be an opportunity for student support services to work on looking at some additional interventions, whether it might be, it could be a variety of different things, but that would be another step later. Right now, we're just really looking at the professional learning for the staff.
Okay, so I misunderstood that.
That's okay.
Okay, because what you're saying is this is to train the teachers
Yes.
to be able to be able to identify this student may or may not have dyslexia. And then if they think they do, then there's specific teaching strategies that they do. And so and that's wonderful. But if I'm not a medical doctor either. But if
Yes.
you got dyslexia, I would assume there are some things that the child should be some classes or courses or medical treatment or something to help improve that. So how do we move to that, or is that not our responsibility?
Dr. Nichols presented the dyslexia manual earlier. And within that dyslexia manual, there's a screening and it's a lot of information that's contained in that manual. And so there's a step-by-step process that would occur beyond that.
But you do tell the parent.
We may tell, there is a letter that is sent home as part of the dyslexia process.
Okay.
So there's a letter that's sent home, just basically giving the handbook to the parent, letting them know that we have the screening process, et cetera. But we have tiered interventions, a variety of different steps that would ultimately provide support. If we would see that the student is still struggling, then there would be a need for the team to be in place to identify the next step.
I had a question, but I will send it to you, Dr. Nichols, because it has to do with whether or not if a student is identified, what is the IEP? Are they automatically considered for an IEP? So you don't have to respond. I'm going to send you a detailed email. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is the wall for benefits coordinator and the superintendent's office. This is in compliance with Goal 1 Finance and Facilities, policy FEF2. At the conclusion, it is recommended that the SAB approve the contract with Black Label in the amount of $10,700. Making this presentation is Ms. Yvonne Green, the Director of Facilities.
Good evening, Special Administrative Board, Dr. Joy Lynn, community, and colleagues. This wall is to be extended at the benefits office there. If you walk down the hall, it doesn't go all the way up to the top. So if they're conducting business, everybody walking down the hallway can hear their conversation just as well as at the superintendent's office. So this contractor will be extending this wall at the benefits coordinator's office and extending a wall and a door at the superintendent's office so that they can have confidential conversation. And this cost is not to exceed $10,700. Are there any questions?
Again, I read it. I have questions. I don't know if you answered or Dr. CFO answered the question. But I read somewhere in here, there were some bids.
3 bids.
Right. And my first question is it not customary to have the bids open in a public setting?
Well, this was not an RFP. The RFP is, when we do an RFP, we do an open bid in a public setting. These were actual 3 bids that we received because they're under the $50,000 cutoff.
So we're calling them bids, but policy says anytime you spend over $3,500, up to $50,000, then we need to at least get 3 quotes. So we're calling them bids, but essentially these work the same way as quotes. They're estimates for the charges of work that they'll be performed.
So as a quote, it doesn't have to be publicly, no, okay.
Right. It really, the dollar amount drives what we receive. So because this is less than $50,000 policy, we meet policy by getting 3 quotes.
Okay, and so seems like to me the low bid is Black Label. What do we know about Black Label? Because I tried to find some information out about her.
It is a minority-owned company. They are insured. I put it out and I just asked for different contractors. A lot of the other contractors that I normally would ask for, some of them are so busy and they have work. So I just reached out to contractors, and this one was the low bid.
So this is publicly advertised?
No, I just call different contractors. Anytime that, like Dr. Singleton said, if it's above 3,500, I have to get the 3 quotes. So I just reach out to different contractors or ask people, do they know contractors? So that's how I found the company.
Less than $50,000. We don't
Yes.
have to advertise.
Right.
3,500, 50,000. We have to do our due diligence and get you 3 quotes. Yes. But we don't have to do a request for proposal. If we spend over 50,000, then we have to publicize and put it on the website,
Newspaper.
put it in the newspaper.
Over 50,000.
Over 50,000, yes.
Okay, so basically, you only had a few people to respond, from what I'm understanding, a few companies, and this one was the low bid. Although, how do you feel about this company's work? Have you know anything about that?
I did ask for some references, and I reached out to them, and I also seen her book, the book of the work that they've done.
Okay.
So what's Hinges Interiors, a bid for $3,400? Is that for the same work or that's for something different?
I'm sorry.
Hinges Interiors, there's an attachment for Hinges and Interiors. It's close off drywall partition at top of wall with a price of $3,400, $3,409.
Well, when I asked for the total bid, Hinges came up to $12,967, and the total bid for Black Label was $10,700.
Okay. Okay, I just saw the $3,400.
There should have been 3 bids under Hinges. Hinges had 3 sheets with it.
Okay. All right, thank you.
If I need to, I'll send it back to you all.
No, that's fine. It just caught my attention.
Okay. Thank you.
And the last item for discussion is the environmental consultant's water testing. Ms. Green is also making this presentation. It too falls under facilities and finance. At the completion, we will be asking the board to approve this water testing process be done at a cost not to exceed $25,000. And we are asking for this to be approved tonight as well.
Yes. So what I'm asking, the state of Missouri passed the water testing, and it's going to take effect August the 28th, that all Missouri schools have to test their drinking water. So what I'm asking is that we start immediately while there's no students present, because if we find anything that's over 5.5 parts per billion, we have to do some remediation, like put in filters. Most of our drinking fountains, especially the new ones that we put into schools, have filters in them already. So that's a plus for us. But if we find some water sources, that means the drinking fountains and the sinks in the kitchen are the ones that will be tested. If we find those to be over that threshold, we have to put in filters either in entering the school itself or on those individuals. But so if we find that, I would rather put it on the system coming into the building. So what that then tells is that we would have to shut down the water in the school. So we don't want to do that while we have students present, because we don't know how long it may take to put the filters in and get the water back up. So I'm asking that we do that before students return. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the items for discussion.
We will now move to approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion?
Move.
Is there a second? Second. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Our items for action, retirees as permanent, this is item 10, retirees as permanent substitute teachers. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second? Second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
The next one is the surplus technology equipment. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Third is the Riverview Gardens Annual Convocation. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second? Second. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Item D, environmental consultants, water testing. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Or should I ask if there's any questions? All in favor, is aye, okay? And item number 11 is to adjourn. May I have a motion?
So move.
May I have a second? Second. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Very